Today I will give you a quick intuitive guide on how Hysilens kit works. And the most important thing we want to have with Hysilens is, as you might have guessed, is have her zone up, which is that blue background she gets whenever you ult or cast your technique. That deploys that zone. And the cool thing is, whenever you deploy that zone, you get +1 skill point. And whenever that zone is up, enemies will have reduced attack and reduced defense. And this zone is up for 3 turns, which is indicated by this countdown right here, which is reduced by 1 whenever Hysilens' turn starts. But okay, we see having that zone up is quite nice. Whenever we deploy it, we get a skill point and enemies have reduced attack and defense. The other nice thing is, we want to make sure that we trigger dots when this zone is up. And with triggering, I mean like whenever their turn starts, their dots get detonated, or with like Kafka's skill. Whenever that happens and this zone is up, Hysilens will trigger these additional dots of hers, which is this white dot right here, which is physical. And the nice thing is, these Hysilens dots will be more if there are more dots on the enemy. So if the enemy has like bleed, shock, wind and 2 different types of shock on his head, then for each of those, this Hysilens dots will trigger. But the limit is 8 though, so up to 8 different types of dots. So for example, a shock applied by Kafka, her ultimate, is a different type of shock whenever enemy gets lightning weakness broken. Those are 2 different dots. But luckily for us, we can have many dots on an enemy's head because of Hysilens. Since whenever you attack with an ally, by just having Hysilens in your team, that attack has a chance to inflict dot on the enemy. And the dots that can be inflicted are wind shear, bleed, burn or shock. So this helps us in getting many dots on the enemy's head. So Hysilens can do more damage with her dots. But also luckily for us, whenever you ult with Hysilens, that also will trigger dots. And it would make the original dots do more damage. So these ones right here. But just know, when you ult, you trigger dots and that does nice damage. And this chance to inflict dots whenever an ally attacks, these dots also have a chance to be inflicted when you use your technique with Hysilens. And it will inflict 2 of those dots, which is always appreciated. And then we also got Hysilens' skill, which is pretty straightforward. You have a 100% base chance to inflict vulnerability on enemies, which is basically enemies will take more damage, which lasts for 3 turns. But the last thing you want to keep in mind with Hysilens is that when you build her, make sure you have 120% effect hit rate. Because the more effect hit rate you have, the more damage you will do, but that damage increase is kept when you have 120% effect hit rate. So as you can see, Hysilens, her flow is pretty simple. Just make sure your zone is up, which is not a biggie because it lasts for 3 turns, and that whenever that zone is up, which is always basically, that you want to trigger dots as many times as possible, which is like with Hysilens her ult, or with, for example, like Kafka, or an enemy gets its turn, then dots are also detonated, since when that happens, Hysilens will do her own dot damage on top of that. But basically all you need to know is, the more dots an enemy has, the more of these Hysilens dots, so more of these white numbers you will see. And inflicting many dots is pretty simple, because whenever you attack with an ally, the enemy has a chance to be inflicted with a dot. And that's the whole flow of Hysilens, as simple as that. And regarding her build, it's pretty simple. For the 4-piece you go for the prisoner, and for the 2-piece you go for that C1. And for the Litecoin, of course the best one is her signature, but I don't have it, so I will just go for the one with Sampo on it. But I just recommend you to go to Pridewind, because they have a beautiful list there of everything on what to build when on Hysilens, what Litecoins are the best one in which scenarios, which relics are the best ones, all that stuff. I will have Pridewind linked in the description. But I thank you for paying attention and see you next time. Bye.